Okay, good afternoon, everyone. This is going to be a 30-minute or so lecture on presentation skills. Obviously, there's only a certain amount that we can teach you with regards to presentation skills, but these are more tips and tricks that you can actually use to make your presentation more effective. So, what we're going to be covering in the next half an hour or so are an overview of what skills you actually need to make a good presentation, some examples of presentations, what the difference is between presenting and pitching, and then there's an exercise that I want you to try on your own, really, to see if you can effectively pitch and present and do a critical analysis on yourself. So the overall objective is to develop confidence in presenting and pitching. And to be honest, there's only one real way that you can do this, and this is to practice it. So presenting is really important, okay, because it's a frequent task that you will do in all walks of life, not just employment or education, but you may be asked to do a presentation for other circumstances as well, such as a family reunion or family party or something along those lines. But in general, they do appear in a professional environment. People will make judgments on people based on how they present in public. Okay, so for instance, you've heard the saying that most people will judge a book by its cover, and the first impressions are the ones that stick. And this is doubly true for presentations. It's often the basis for obtaining funding or promotion or a new job. So there's an employability angle to it here as well. I would guess that 90% of the assessment centres or the job interviews that graduates go for will have a form of presentation in them. So it's good for you to get used to this now. So some skills that you need to think about, and we'll start off on the right hand side with speech. Obviously, you need to speak clearly and confidently. Okay, be concise as well. Don't ramble. If you feel yourself that you are going too fast, then take a deep breath, recollect your thoughts, and go on from there. And try and use everyday language rather than jargon. Okay, so jargon are things that are specific to the presentation or the topic that you are doing your presentation on. Bear in mind the audience that they may not understand what you're talking about. Okay, so if we move around anti-clockwise, nervousness. It's normal to be nervous. It does help you to make things more energized, and it's, for me anyway, it tends to make me a better presenter because I can harness that nervous energy. But remember, preparation and practice is really critical. If you know that you've got your presentation in place, you know what you're going to say or the gist of what you're going to say, then you can harness that nervous energy. Interaction. Okay, you have to build a rapport with your audience. So ask questions, get them involved. Something that we do with presentations and with lectures is to use interactive tools. So think about using those interactive tools as well to try and get buy-in from your audience. Most presentations will involve PowerPoint, so it's important that you keep these slides clean and simple. Not too much writing on them, and one of the worst things that you can do is to put lots of writing onto a PowerPoint slide and then just read it back at the audience. Okay, this is something that they can do themselves. So a lot of people will not even put any words onto a presentation at all. Just have a picture that they can talk around, and therefore the basis of the presentation and the focus of the presentation is based on them. Notes and handouts. Have brief notes if you have to on postcard size cards, but really try and overcome the urge to read off them as a script. Okay, they should really be there just as an emergency. And one of the things that I tend to try and get people to do when I'm coaching them to present is to forget about the cards and the handouts completely, and just go for the presentation, as it comes across a lot more natural. Structure. Make sure you have a logical order, beginning, middle, and end. So, like we were taught to write essays and stories when we were in primary school, presentations are no different. they must have a defined beginning, middle, and end. And practice, okay? Practice beforehand, practice in front of the mirror, and record it in front of a friend and get feedback from that friend as well. Something again that us as lecturers do is we have peer assessment. So one of our peers will sit in on a lecture and give us a critical analysis of how we're doing, which is really useful to help us grow. And lastly, body language. Smile and make eye contact, not eye contact, and make sure that you give an air of confidence. Okay, if you aren't looking at the audience, if you've got your head down, if you're mumbling, if you're rubbing your hand across your face, which coincidentally is something that I tend to do when I'm presenting, make sure that you aren't doing these things because it does put a barrier up between you and the audience. So we've said about content, structure is important, okay? The body, the conclusion. Try and work out what the message is that you're trying to convey. What information do you want the audience to take away with them? Nerves, okay? So a little bit more on this. Nerves can happen to anybody at any time. And there's an interesting clip there of the 2010 film, The King's Speech, which is about King George VI. He had an awful problem with nerves when he was making speeches, and one of the big things that he did to overcome was to practice and to try and get rid of his stammer. So it can happen to anybody. It can happen to a king. It can happen to one of us. With the body language, fake it until you make it, okay? Project an image of confidence, even if you aren't feeling that confident. So the key things to think about there, again, are posture, eye contact, and movement, okay? Feel free to talk with your hands. It does tend to give a better image of what you're trying to convey to the audience. Barclays Life Skills. I'm sure you've come across these before. They're aimed at students and school kids as well, actually. But they have a lot of useful tips on things like body language, eye contact, speaking with clarity, which is something I'm having problems with at the moment, as you can probably tell, and using appropriate language as well. So I'd ask you to have a look at some of these YouTube clips. Really take on board what they're saying and see if they can help you to hone your presentation skills. Slides, as we said, can make or break a presentation. As I've said about the reams and reams of text, no more than 6 lines of text and no more than 6 words per line. This is something that presentation coaches call the rule of 6. Okay. I mentioned as well about using images and diagrams. If you can have just a single picture on a slide that gives you a jolt to remind you what to talk about, then that is really good. Okay. Avoid death by PowerPoint, and I'm sure we've all been in presentations where we have 90, 100, 120 slides that the presenter goes through, and after about 10 or 15, we lose the will to live, and we lose the message that is trying to be conveyed to us. Okay. Also, look for alternatives to PowerPoint. Prezi is a free web tool for making presentations that allow you to make things a little bit more dynamic and a little bit more dramatic, which gets your message across in a better way. Worth looking at some TED Talks as well. So Sid Efrovitch, 5 Techniques to Speak Any Language is a really good one. Jake Barnett, Forget What You Know, is another really good one that focuses on breaking down the images that we have of presentations. Okay, and also Tandy Newton, Embracing Others, and embracing yourself. Now, what I would usually do in a normal lecture is to play each of those, because they're not very long, and then get people to vote from a Slido perspective on which one they thought the best, and we would use that as a tool to discuss what presentation skills are the best in what situation. Okay, that is an example of how we would actually use interaction, as I mentioned previously, but obviously because this is an asynchronous recording, I can't do that. So some common mistakes. Using small scale movements and gestures. Okay, so be dramatic. Use your hands. Okay, but don't just stand there like a statue. It's very, very easy to do that, and it's very, very easy to actually hide behind objects like lecterns as well. So make sure you move around. Speak with a lot of energy. So speaking with low energy, not altering your tone, not altering the speed of the delivery, can make presentations very, very boring. So so make sure that you are speaking with energy. Play it safe. Okay. Don't necessarily play it safe. If you a good example of this would be, as I've said, the Pecha model, where no words are actually used in the presentation at all, and you have 20 seconds on each slide to get your message across. That is a really dramatic way of presenting. Okay, so if you have a unique idea or a way of presenting, then test it, see how it works. Not preparing enough, that's a classic example. Failing to prepare is preparing to fail. Okay, and it's the same with the next point, which is practicing. Make sure you practice. A lot of the presentations that you have will have a time limit, and one of the worst things that you can do is go over that time limit. Okay, that really does kill a lot of presentations. Don't prepare too much material. Okay, don't try and reinvent the wheel. Try and keep it as simple and as streamlined as possible. Don't rush it. Make sure that you allow the message and what you are trying to say on each slide to sink in. Data-centric presentations, and what I mean by this is presentations that have lots and lots of graphs and numbers and pie charts and so on them. They may look good when you're putting them together, but information overload can quickly develop with your audience. Okay, and once that happens, they will switch off. Don't take yourself too seriously either. I like to have a little bit of a laugh and a joke. It shows that you're human, and it does build that relationship up with your audience. So the elevator pitch. This is basically a short explanation of the idea. Any idea. It could be a sales pitch, it could be a pitch for funding or whatever. But the idea of the elevator pitch is that you should be able to tell somebody the basic features, the advantages and the benefits of what you are trying to pitch to them in the time it takes an elevator door to close, to go up, and then the doors to open. Okay. Travel time 30 seconds to 2 minutes, and the goal is to present the idea in a positive and exciting way. If you can get your ideas and your message across within about a minute to a minute and a half, focusing on those features, so what it is that you're trying to, the message that you're trying to convey to somebody, what the advantages of that project or that product or that service is, and then why somebody should engage with you. If you can get all that done in a minute and a half, then that is a really good way to start off a pitch. Okay, so what I would like you to do in this instance is in groups. Okay, and it's something that we are going to perhaps focus on in the next seminar. Is I'm going to put you into groups of 4 or 5. Okay, and I would like you to prepare a pitch to state your case for surviving a balloon ride. Okay? So all you're doing there is you are preparing a 1 minute 30 presentation on balloon ride. And this is something that we will focus on, and I will throw something else into the seminar as a bit of a surprise on Thursday. Okay, so presentation analysis. So it would be a good idea for you to video each other presenting using a phone or tablet. This is something that we're probably going to be doing quite a bit more this year with the lockdown restrictions. So using a phone or a tablet to either record yourself within a group, or to have somebody else recording, can give you a better idea of the content, how you speak, because you speak a lot different to what you think you do. Your intonation and so on is a lot different when you hear yourself back. How clear you are and how your body language stacks up. Okay, so this is something that I would encourage you to do before you have to do the presentations for this module. And analyze. So in pairs, look at the footage that you've done. Look at the body language. Look at the pace of speech, and constructively criticize each other. How could you do better? What things could you add into the presentation that would make the message more clear and more attractive? Think about what you've learned from your presentation style. Okay, so this is basic reflection. What have you learned from the experience? What would you do differently next time? And ultimately, how can you improve that presentation style? And that, in a nutshell, is it. Okay, you will get an opportunity, as I said, at the next seminar to have a go at presenting, and we can have a look, and we can do things in little breakout rooms. Okay, but if there are any questions or any concerns, then it's something that you can bring up with either myself or Karina at the next seminar. But one thing that I do want to just leave you with is that presenting should be fun. You should be in a position to enjoy what you are learning, enjoy what you're presenting, and embrace this activity and this assessment. Okay, thanks very much. Look forward to speaking to you guys again soon.